Hey tubers, welcome back for another adventure. Do you know what's even better than going to the flea market? When you discover a hoard of all-terrain vehicle stuff right in your own basement. Some of this stuff I completely forgot about. Some folks may or may not remember J.C. Whitney. I don't even know if they're in business anymore. But check this out. I bought this Mayor's plastic. I believe this goes to a Honda ATC 250SX. Back then it cost $90 and I've owned it for the last 25 years. Isn't that amazing, right? I mean, talk about new old stock. I wish that at the same time I bought the front fender to go with it as matching. If I'm recalling correctly, I picked up a three-wheeler that I had been planning on fixing up. Things got crazy busy at work, so unfortunately, I never got around to it, but I did collect up some of the parts to do that. I found some pieces and parts of others, ATC200S. And how about this? I bought this whole thing all at once. And it's really Yamaha, Honda motors, wrenches. Some of them specialty. You guys know that spark plug type wrenches are really handy to have. NDK plugs. I'm glad I found these. I'm about ripe to buy new ones to add. Right, I go through these quite a few at a time, so I'm glad I found those. And check this out. This used to belong to Pops up in Middletown. I bought it from Pops himself years and years ago. It's an old school motorcycle tester, right? Insulation resistance, the capacitor for spark back in the days of points and cap, points and condenser, voltage current, continuity spark test. And the spark test is interesting because you can turn this dial and you can make the gap bigger and smaller within that window. Hopefully you guys are able to see that. Timing, current, starter test. I mean, that is just beyond cool. Nowadays, with CDI, this is not much practical use, but from the point of view of just collectible, it is interesting. And as a matter of fact, I'm probably going to look it up on eBay tonight to see what it's actually worth. Not that I'm ever going to sell it. If you guys ever hear about a hoarder that came to the end somewhere in the Hudson Valley of New York, you might want to show up to the sale my wife has. Some more bits and bobs that probably haven't seen light since I moved to this house. I don't know, back in '93 time frame. So let's dig it out and see all of what's here. So more from JC Whatnot. Seat covers. Back then they used to cost about $14.50, and God, I bought those all the way back in '98 also. There's 3 of them, so I'm not sure. One extra showed up from somewhere. Once again, when I would go to like car shows and so forth, if somebody had something that would fit one of my machines, I would grab it. What I'm going through now is trying to get this stuff together, like so all 3 seat covers are in the same place and so forth. Here's some gaskets. I believe these are for the older stuff, perhaps the CT70s. Like this here, ATC 90s. I do have a couple of those. Looks like I broke into this at some point. So probably the Honda stuff, I probably bought that back in the day. Used to go across the river. What was that? Honda of Newburgh. I probably got some of this stuff from there. These are for the 200S. I'm glad I discovered those. Just also going through this particular crate. Here are the old JC Whatnot catalogs from June of '98. They used to put all these flyer things in. Trail map for New Hampshire. Those look pretty short. They're probably front or back brake cables. Bunch of oil filters. Extra wrench senses. And this is actually Honda Motors. It's hard to find them complete with the package. Good. Robin. This is Mercedes-Benz. Subaru. That's probably from a CT 70 or 90, just from, you know, battery holder and wire harness. There's even more to come. I found another stack, and if I had to guess, this stuff came from JC Whitney also. I didn't find a receipt, but it's CT 70 stuff. I couldn't be happier than to find a stack of this. That's a real nice find. So I have gasket sets for ATC 200s, 185 200s. Found a cam and a timing chain. Looks like that's for a 200X, right? The sprocket, oversized piston. Right, can't go wrong with that kind of stuff. I actually bought this stuff up at Duchess Recreation back in '93. Some gasket sets, eBay stuff. Great, prices changed. This stuff from 2012. Out of all the stuff I've found, this is probably the most valuable. This is a flywheel for a Suzuki ATC. It was a two-stroke 50cc. These flywheels just don't exist anywhere. And the reason being is most people didn't use a flywheel puller to remove them. What they would do is kind of reach underneath with the flat edge, flat blade for a screwdriver, and as they would push on these, they'd break these magnets off, and then it's the flywheel is useless, right? So yeah, this is really hard to find. I do have a couple of these floating around. One of them that with this flywheel could become complete, and another one that's been in pieces forever. It's has no chance of living again. It's out in the shed. It's been living with mice forever. It's also interesting, other projects I've discovered. There was an XL 125 that I was going to bring back to life. I bought the tube for it and another few parts. You see the motorcycle chain that was for that project. That just kind of got buried and worthless, and I think I ended up trading it for something. Just finishing up, once again, the spark plug for that XL back in the day. I found a bunch of bearings and seals for the tail end of Honda ATC 200S's that run old plate. You know, a lot of this stuff, like $4, but I got it for $1. This is a side cover. It's amazing how my memory's holding up. That's a side cover for an SL70. A lot of this stuff, you just can't find it anymore. It's wise not to crack them or break the fingers off of them because that just renders them useless.